So last year, I had a problem. And it was one of those problems that, I worked really hard at it, and it kind of consumed my life. And it seems like no matter what I did, nothing made a difference. So I was publishing content that was getting traffic. It was getting shares. It was getting comments. And anyone seen Backlinko before? It's good stuff, right? Right? It's good. People were going. People were basically visiting my site more than ever. I was breaking traffic records every month. That was the good news. The problem was I couldn't get any of those people to actually convert and sign up for my email list. So basically, I was like one of those guys that drives a Bentley and wears a Rolex. But when you go to his house, you realize that he sleeps on the mattress on the floor and eats ramen noodles for dinner every night. Welcome to my world. That's where I was at. Not fun. So the thing was, the ironic part about building your email list, as anyone knows, is that even if you try, if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to get email. So I had forms everywhere on my site. This is my homepage. You pretty much can only enter your email, right? You can't miss that form. It takes up the entire above the fold area. In the sidebar, if you go to a blog post, you get another form. And if that wasn't good enough, after you read the post, there's another form to get you to submit your email. So you had plenty of chances to do it, but just no one was doing it. Like I said, 1.38%. That's a number to keep in mind, because you'll see how it goes. So now I want to turn it over to you. Who here has a blog that's building an email list, or a site that's building an email list? Okay, beautiful. So whose conversion rate is less than 1%, so 0 to 1%? It's okay. We're all friends here. It's actually not so bad, believe it or not, depending, not 0 obviously, but you're closer to 1%. Who here is 1 to 3%? Who's doing well? All right, raise it high. You should be proud. And who here is just like a complete baller? 3% plus. Anybody? Wow. Beautiful. And who here has no idea they just came for the beer? Anyone? I thought that was just me. Okay. So you want to write that number down, or if you don't have a pen, just keep it in your mind, because we're going to work with that number as we go through. So 1.38% was my old rate when I was sleeping in the mattress on the floor and eating ramen noodles. And 6 weeks later, 3.68%. With no split testing. And today, I'm going to show you how I did it. So, like I said, forms, had forms everywhere. The problem was I didn't know what to actually put on that form to get people to enter their email. Because back in the day, you could just offer a free report or an ebook or a mini course. You could get emails no problem. If anyone's been doing internet marketing for a while, you know what I'm talking about. But those days are long gone, right? People cling to their emails more now than ever. They just don't want to give them up. So, but before I show you how I got to 3.68%, which is cool, I do want to show you one cool thing that was working for me in my old mattress on the floor days. And that was to use a page that a lot of people don't think about when they think about building their email list. And it's a page in your site that a lot of people visit when they're already there. So you're not going to get people to visit this page from Google. They're not going to share it on social media. But when they're already on your site, it's one of the most visited pages on your website. I can guarantee if you go to Google Analytics right now, for people that are already on your site, they love going to this page. And that page, of course, is your About page. So, and the funny thing about your About page is this. People that click on that About page link, they're not just anyone, right? Even though it's a lot of traffic, it's a certain type of traffic. They're people that like you. They like what you're doing. They read something like, oh, I want to learn more. No one reads an article online and thinks, this sucks. I wonder what idiot wrote this. And they click on the About page to find out. No, these are people that like you. They like what you're about, and they want to learn more. And when you give them that opportunity, they'll take it. This is my conversion rate on my About page. So site-wide, I'm banging my head against the wall, but this is one page that's working well. I just want to share that with you because it's a quick win. You can add some forms to your About page. In fact, all I have on my About page is red boxes are looking a little funny. I have a form halfway down, so when you go halfway down, there's an opportunity there. Another box at the bottom. That's it, 6%. No testing, no trying any advanced ninja conversion strategies, literally just 2 forms, 6.18%. You can't beat that. And because people that go to that page want to learn more about you, and you provide a form, you're really giving them what they want, right? You're giving them an opportunity to learn more about you. So that was all well and good, right? My About page, crushing it. Well, maybe like 2% of the people of all the people that actually go to my site, 2 to 5% actually visit that page. What about all those other people? like pretty much everybody. Well, it was around this time that I got in touch with Noah Kagan, who's now a good friend of mine, and I told him about my problem. I said, Noah, got this site, you've seen it, it's doing well, it's getting traffic, but I can't get these people to convert. And Noah's actually built an email list of 1 million people. Literally has an email list of 1 million. So I knew if anyone could answer that question, it was Noah. So told him my problem, and I knew he was preparing some Yoda wisdom. He paused for a second. This is what he said. Dude, you need to use a pop-up. Pop-ups, let's just talk about them. Who hates them? Anybody? Woo, wow. It's like a majority. Yeah, well, okay. I think we're on the same page here. Now, this is funny because it depends on the audience. Now, everyone hates them. Who here would never use them on their site? Wow, a lot less hands. So basically, no one has integrity here either. Good. You'll like the rest of this talk. So let's just talk about pop-ups and how they can actually be used and not be as annoying. So anyway, after Noah gave me this piece of advice, I had this plan. First of all, I was like you. I was like, no way I'm using a pop-up on my site. So I figured, here's what I'll do. I'll just put a pop-up on my site for 24 hours just to show him that I actually listened to his advice and then just ignore him. And then when people start sending me hate mail and people start leaving my site in droves and get annoyed, I'll take it down. But that way I can say, Noah, I tried it. It wasn't for me. So I created this simple pop-up using SumoMe, which is Noah's software. And I just wrote kind of just freehand, wrote it, put it up on the site, and the next day when I went into WordPress, my plan was actually to take it down. I was like, okay, I'm going to log in and take it down. But I thought it'd be cool to check out my stats just before I delete it to see what's going on. And my conversion rate, the box is a little funky, but it was about 4%. So keep in mind, I was at 1.3%, my About page was doing well, and all of a sudden I was getting 4% from this stupid little pop-up. And needless to say, I never looked back from using pop-ups and have them on my site since then. And like you, I hate them. So I tried to figure out ways to make them less annoying, and the funny thing is, the less annoying they are and the less invasive they are, actually the better they convert in my experience. So the first thing you want to do is use exit intent pop-ups. Who's familiar with these? Raise them. Exit intent. Okay. So this basically is, you have those pop-ups, you're reading an article, this is cool, boom, pop-up. That's annoying, right? That's annoying. No one likes that. So exit intent pop-up is basically when someone's going to leave, that's the cursor over there, the pop-up comes up. So you're kind of giving them a last chance, like, oh, before you go, here's one more chance to get something cool. And because you're not interrupting them, it's so much less annoying than one of those pop-ups that interrupt you. Now, another thing is what you put in that pop-up makes all the difference. So here's an example of what not to do. The other day I was on searchenginejournal.com, and this is the pop-up that, first of all, interrupted me, but more importantly, this message: join 25,112 marketers and counting. It's like, I don't really care how many marketers you already have in your email list, right? I want to learn about SEO. So don't interrupt me. If you're going to interrupt someone, you're going to annoy someone, make it count. Don't do this kind of thing. So, for example, here's a pop-up that I had recently: want more traffic, blah, blah, blah. But it's targeted, right? So even if that person doesn't take advantage of it, it's basically saying, like, I get you, right? I know what you actually want. You're here because you want more traffic, and you can have an opportunity to learn how to get more traffic. So even if they say no, it's much less annoying than get free updates or sign up to our newsletter or be the first to know. Like anyone wants to get spammed first. I want to get spammed first. I want to be the first to know. So I find like the message makes a huge difference, obviously converts a lot better, but more importantly, for those 96% of the people that don't enter their email, you have this little, it doesn't annoy them as much because you're giving them something that they actually want, even if they don't take you up on it. Now here's a pro tip for pop-ups or any other call to action that you have in your site, and that's to use fun, upbeat call to actions. So things like subscribe and sign up, they make you feel like you have this huge commitment, right? Like you're going to marry this site. That's not good. You want someone to feel like entering their email is like the most natural thing in the world. So I try to stay away from these terms like subscribe and sign up. I use stuff like, let's do this, I'm in, let's get more traffic, right? It's a more positive and upbeat, and it lowers someone's anxiety. Because when you hit them with a pop-up, first of all, they're like, a little bit annoyed, right? Even if it's exit intent, they're like, I just want to close my browser. So first of all, you have that. And also when they enter their email, is all this anxiety about, are they going to spam me? Are they going to sell it? Are they going to rent it? And when you say something like join, subscribe, sign up, all these very, very strong commitment words, it increases that anxiety. But when you say stuff like, let's do this, I'm in, I want more traffic, I want to lose weight, whatever your site is about, it speaks to their goals and chills them out a little bit. So if you're not ready for a pop-up, there's this thing called a scroll box, which it basically appears out of the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Probably seen these before. So I call them pop-up light. So if you're not really ready for a pop-up and you're just kind of like totally opposed to the idea, you can use this scroll box. And it's a little less invasive and actually converts at 5%. The only problem with the scroll box is that you can only set it to when someone scrolls a certain amount. So it doesn't have exit intent technology. And even if it did, no one would even see it if they're going to exit. So you don't get as many emails, even though it converts better. All right, so now it's time to think of, if you have a site and you have a pop-up, think of something of value that you could give somebody that isn't just to get free updates or to be the first to know or to get a newsletter. Something tangible that they can walk away with and be like, oh, this is cool. Here are a few examples. There's some social triggers. You want to learn how to get 5,000 subscribers for free? Sounds good, right? I'll take that. How about this one? This is from the 4-Hour Workweek blog. 5 reasons to be a jack of all trades. By the way, this is just a blog post that Tim turned into an ebook. This is how easy it is. But it's a lot cooler than just get free updates, right? I want to learn how to be a jack of all trades. Or how about this one from The Art of Manliness? Get the 30 Days to a Better Man ebook. Now, I obviously don't need that, but I kind of appreciated that they asked. And it's a pretty cool offer, right? Because if you're at The Art of Manliness, you obviously want to learn how to be a better man. Okay, so like I said, we're going to write that down. Now, that's all well and good. Things are moving in the right direction. Starting to finally get some emails thanks to this whole pop-up thing. But what about the thousands of people that didn't see the pop-up, right? That didn't appear for some reason, or the 96% of people that didn't enter their email into that form? What about those people? What could I do to get them to actually subscribe? Well, that's when I came across this post called Top Best Fiverr Gigs of 2014. And it's just a list of kind of Fiverr gigs that you can use to transcribe stuff or get some basic graphic design. On the surface, this post is like any other post you see in internet marketing. You read it, it's pretty good, and you hit the back button. But what's interesting about this post was that at the bottom, it had this thing, click here to download the top 20 Fiverr gigs of 2014. I was like, well, that's interesting, because the post only had 10, but you have 20. What's the deal? Well, when you click on that button, you can enter your email and get access to all 20. Clever. So I thought this was cool, but too much work, right? I'm not going to write a post, cut it in half, and then offer half to people that sign up. It doesn't make sense. It's just too much work to make that sort of effort for every single post on your site. Then, a few weeks later, I noticed Brian Harris at Video Fruit doing something really similar. He has this thing, created a bonus lesson that shows you how to do the same thing. So he had all these bonus lessons. So in his case, he wasn't cutting the post in half. He was taking one element of the post and expanding on it. So in this case, it's a tutorial about how to be more productive. The post is. And then he has a video to go along with it. So it gives you an idea. Here's another one. So it's another tutorial. So it's all these things that kind of it's really related to the post. It's actually specific to that post. And he calls it a post-specific bonus. And I've changed the name to content upgrade because it sounds a lot better. But it's the same idea. You just find something in the post and you make it better and offer that as to get an email. So again, I thought too much work, right? I'm not going to create these post-specific bonuses for every post on my site for a couple extra subscribers. So I remember asking him, how's that thing working for you, Brian? I went on Skype. How are these little post-specific bonuses? You're getting like 1%, 2%. Must be doing all right, right? Well, this is what he said. 10%. Some convert at 30%. I mean, that's good for a squeeze page, but for a blog post, that's ridiculous. So at that point, I said, okay, I got to give this a try. So I have this post on my site called Google's 200 Ranking Factors, the complete list. And it brings in a lot of traffic. In fact, about 15,000 unique visitors a month to that one post. So it brings in a lot of traffic. But again, that's the good news. The bad news is it only converted at less than 0.5%. So my site-wide was 1.38. This was significantly worse, right? Like a third worse. So that's the ramen noodles and the mattress on the floor. That's the real how that page is doing. Who cares if it brings 15,000 unique visitors a month if I can't get anyone to convert? So after I implemented the content upgrade, this is a conversion rate overnight. Right? Crazy. So I'm going to show you how I did it. So first thing to do, if you want to implement this in your site, which I highly recommend you do, because it's insane, and nothing else you'll hear will ever beat this strategy. So first, you want to find a page in your site that brings in a lot of traffic, the most traffic. One of those evergreen posts that just people just come to all the time. And the reason for that is because it does take some extra work to create these post-specific bonuses, right? You do have to create something unique, and if you do it on a page that only gets like 20 visitors a month, it's probably not worth your time. So you can do that in Google Analytics. Now, the next thing is to look at the post and think, what can I add to this thing, right? And a lot of people overthink this, but in my case, I was lucky because I had people literally tell me what they liked and didn't like about the post. So I had a lot of people like Justin, who says there's not enough time to go through all this, because that post is 6,000 words. So really no one has time to go through all of it. I don't even know how I had time to write it. But somehow Justin read some of it and he said it was good. Now Kristen, she says, do you have this in a PDF format? So in her case, it was readable, but she doesn't want to go back to it all the time as a reference. Every time she needs to reference it, she wants it as a PDF. Very reasonable. So what I did is I took Justin's advice and Kristen's advice, and I put them together into this checklist, Google Ranking Factors checklist, and it had 10 of the most important ranking factors, in my opinion, and some actionable stuff. So it really distilled it. It took it from like 6,000 words to like 200. So it was really, really, really just what you need to know, and the things that will have the most impact. And to pitch it, I had this yellow box right here. So yellow box right after the intro, so you can't miss it. So it's not in the sidebar at the bottom. It's right in the content that pitches the checklist. And at the bottom, there's this massive download image that you also can't miss. And at the end, I realized my conclusions on my content were totally pointless. It was like, so there you have it. That's SEO. What do you think about SEO? And needless to say, it wasn't getting anyone to actually act, right? It was just kind of filler. So I just swapped that out with a call to action. I just turned the conclusion into a huge pitch for the checklist and this can't miss it download icon. So when you click on either of those links, so this red link here in the yellow box or the download icon, this box appears, just like I showed you in that Fiverr gigs thing, right? This is a box from Lead Pages. Anyone use Lead Pages? It's cool, right? This is called a lead box. So you put a link and it looks like a normal link until someone clicks on it and then they gotcha, right? You got the box, you might as well enter your email. That's the psychology behind it, and actually I found it works really well. The cool thing about using these lead page links is that it also doesn't deface your post, because you're already going to kind of deface it a little bit by having this yellow box, but a link looks a lot better than a form. Like if you put a form right in your content, it doesn't look very nice. But the link, for the people that are interested, they click on the link, they get the box, and people that don't, just looks like a link. So it's good times for everybody. And like I said, one day after implementing this, of course, this isn't the next day, because that's not really a valid split test, right? So after, I think this is 2 weeks later, this is a conversion rate. So pretty much overnight, I got a bunch of emails, and that's what happened. So good times. And over the next 9 months, I think, I got 8,000 emails from that page alone, from this strategy. And I think before that, for the year before, I got like, I don't know, a couple hundred. So that's how much of a difference it made. It's insane. Okay. So if you're serious about doing this, the next step is to look at this post that you identify as high traffic and think, how can I make this better? How can I give the person reading this what they want to get them to enter their email? So not free updates, not a newsletter. What can I actually give them? So here's some examples. I like the checklist because it's just easy to make. You can put them together pretty quickly, put them on your site really quickly, and people tend to love them, but you can try all sorts of different stuff. So that's going well, right? Now I'm really starting to move along here. I got the pop-ups going. I had the content upgrade in this one post. But the thing is, that post was really unique, right? 6,000 words. It has 200 ranking factors. Of course, people want a checklist that distills that out. What about the other posts on my site? Would it work? Well, I decided to test it out. So I took pretty much, I think, the top 15 posts on my site, and I looked at each one instead of the lens of like, what call to action can I use? Where can I put a form? All that stuff that wasn't working. I just looked, how can I give someone reading this what they want? Someone reading this at the end, then what? What's the next step, and how can you give it to them, and how can you give them something that'll make them actually hand over their email? So I realized that most of my posts are really long, 2,000 words, 4,000 words, whatever. None were as monstrous as the 6,000 words, but they were pretty heavy. So I realized that checklists would work well, because it basically is what people want, right? They read the post and they're kind of like, I just read 4,000 words. They don't even remember 1,000 words ago. What should I actually do? And the checklist basically says, here's the action steps to take next. So even though it actually just distills what's already there, it adds a lot of value. So I did the same thing. Yellow box at the top, huge download engine at the bottom, and my site-wide conversion rate shot up to 3.68%. So it was 6 weeks. It took me about a month to roll them all out, but by the time I did, that was my conversion rate. So pretty cool. Now the question is, in these tiny little letters, I don't know how that happens, is you might be wondering, will this work for me? Like if I run an internet marketing blog, but what if you run a site about dog training or fitness? Or what if you run this site, isitchristmas.com? Has anyone seen this site before? It literally, you just go to isitchristmas.com and it says no. That's the whole website. Of course, unless it's Christmas, then obviously it says yes. So yeah, go there if you want, not today, and you'll see it says no. If you're going Christmas, it says yes. That's literally the entire website. So on that site, I'll be honest, this might not work, okay? They have a good thing going. They might have a form like, sign up to find out when it's Christmas, or something like that. But for the most part, it'll work on most sites except for this one. So a Backlinko reader read about the strategy. Josh Thompson, he's a former pro golfer, and he started a golf blog. And he was like, oh, let me give this a try. So he runs a site called mygolftutor.com. And he pretty much swiped my entire strategy that wasn't working. He has a huge feature box at the top. He has a sidebar. This one's actually on every page. He has a sidebar form. He has one at the bottom. He even has a squeeze page on his site. He pretty much followed this whole template that didn't work for me. So he decided to also copy the one that did. And his conversion rate spoke to that fact. It was about mine for blog posts, 0.5%. So he found this post on his site. It's hard to read here. How to hit a draw in 3 simple steps. I don't play golf. I don't really know what a draw is, but it's apparently hitting some sort of shot. And this post was bringing in a lot of traffic. So the first step, he found the post that was bringing in a lot of traffic. It was this one. And like most posts on his site and like most on the internet, didn't convert. Traffic was coming. Every 1 out of 200 people entered their email, which is crazy if you think about it. So he thought about it. I'm a guy who wants to hit a better draw on the weekend. I search how to hit a draw on Google. I end up on this post. What does this guy want, right? What will actually get this person to enter their email and happily do it? So what he did is he created a checklist. He realized it's hard to learn how to hit a shot from text in general. Really hard from a blog post. But a checklist does make it a little bit easier because you can actually take this with you to practice. And in fact, in his pitch, he talks about that. I'll talk about this later. But he used the same thing. Yellow box, download image. He actually stole it from my site, but I don't care. And, and that was it. So before I show you his results, I want to show you a cool little pro tip. And that's to create a mental movie of your content upgrade resource in action. So this is cool. Even if you don't do content upgrades, no matter what you sell, anyone still like service business, like consulting or web design, right? There's a great book called Selling the Invisible. Have you heard of that? Because that's basically what you're doing. So if you're a service business or you're giving away something digital like software, there's a visual component to it, but pretty much the benefit is invisible. You can't show it. But when Selling the Invisible. But the pro tip is to actually create a mental movie, and you can do this with anything, whether you sell services or whatever. I like to do it with content upgrades. So here's actually some text that I stole from Noah Kagan. Easily save as a PDF or print for daily use. This is cool, right? Because if I'm like, oh, get a checklist, it's really hard to picture what a checklist is. But when you show them in their mind like how you'd use it, everyone saved a PDF and everyone's printed something. So it gives them that little mental movie. It makes it more like a thing, which is good, right? You want your stuff to be like a thing, then people enter their email. And Josh did something really cool. This is great to take to the driving range in practice. So if you're reading that, you're like, okay, I can actually picture someone like folding it up, put it in their pocket, go into the driving range and practicing. And his conversion rate spoke to that, 3%. So his site on that post, it went from 0.5% to 3% just using this strategy. So you can see why this works so well, right? It's so targeted to what that person's reading. It's something that they want, and that's why it converts so well. So now that my conversion rate has gone up and I collect emails much easier than I used to, life is good. As my email list grows, my revenue grows, and I could travel the world while my email list pretty much builds itself. And now I get to eat premium ramen, and I got an IKEA mattress that I can raise a little bit off the floor. But really, the takeaway lesson is that it's because I learned this secret to getting people to convert on your website. And it's a secret that shouldn't have been a secret to me, but it was. And it's giving people what they want. Thank you. Okay. We got question time. Shoot.
Do you ask for email every time when they download something, again and again?
Yes, but they don't have to double opt-in if they've already opted in.
Okay, but you ask again.
Yeah, the technology is actually really difficult because if you try to do it with cookies, people clear their cookies. So I see it as logging in, but there's no password. So all they have to do is enter their email, and if they've already entered their email, the lead box will pre-populate their email when they click it again. So it's really like 1 second, and if people complain about that, then too bad. It's a great resource you're getting for free.
So how do the emails help you upgrade to the premium version?
The emails I get?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a whole nother talk. That's a lot. But basically, I provide tons of value in my newsletter, and then have its product launch and all that stuff. But yeah, that's a tough one. That's a whole nother talk.
Can you go more into the lead pages? I thought it's only like landing page, but all you do is a box. Is it a tool like Zumo, AppZumo?
No, it's through lead pages. There's a feature in lead pages called lead boxes. Lead boxes.
But do I need lead pages?
Yeah, you need lead pages. Yeah, you need lead pages. There are probably other tools, but I don't know them.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I think AppSumo is rolling out one, but
Okay.
I use lead pages. It's really good. It's cheap for what you get out of it. Go ahead.
How's technical monetized?
Premium training course.
Do you think it'd be viable using different pop-up content upgrades depending on where on the page people leave? So using like different ones on one page?
Oh, yes, that's something I tested, and it did help. But it was also a bit of a hassle to have to create one for every page. But yeah, it's the same idea of the content upgrade, right? It's like instead of the pop-up being generic, why would you create content upgrade that's very specific and then the pop-up would be generic? So yeah, it's a good thing I tested it and it worked well. It's just a bit of a hassle. But I plan on implementing that again. It was cool. Yes?
So I have a question about the pop-up. Because I used it recently myself, and I wonder, do you only implement it now when people leave the website? Or do you have any other, there's the option that after 5 to 10 seconds, or it's like a smart option. I'm using SumoMe, so do you only use it when people leave the page?
Yeah, so the smart option in SumoMe is actually exit intent.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so the smart part is that they're smart enough to know that the person's leaving. It's not perfect, because sometimes they're not really leaving, but it's pretty good.
And just an add-on question to that is, when the pop-up window shows up, right, how much do you care about the colors, for example, on the background of the window and the color of the button, actually? Is that because people say, oh, if you use like orange and that style, converts more, and so?
Dude, I don't think about that stuff really. But what I like to do, because I know Bounce Exchange, do you know about them? Yeah, they were like the first exit intent pop-up company, and they've done hundreds of thousands of tests. And they basically, what they do is they darken the background of what you're reading. So like the pop-up appears, and then the rest is darkened, and the pop-up pops a little more. The one I showed you from the 4-Hour Workweek blog, and he actually uses Bounce Exchange, Tim. So you go to that site and you kind of try to leave, it'll show it, and you can see.
But it also be different from, let's say my main question is red and black and white. So the button itself should be probably like a different color, right?
You mean the button to enter your email, or the X button?
The subscribe button.
Oh yeah, well I like to use consistent action colors on a site. So I think all your buttons should be the same color and your link should be the same. Anything you want someone to click on, you want to have it consistent. It doesn't matter if it's like purple, red, or whatever, but like if you have a subscribe button on your site that's red, on the pop-up, yeah, you should have that consistent. So I use orange, so like the pop-up's also orange. So that's a really good point.
Let's do 2 more questions.
Okay.
So exit intent has been there for a while. So is there anything new coming up?
Dude, I'm open to ideas if you have.
This is going to be there. Online marketing has been working for a little bit. Now it's already penetrating into other places like Ferry's got his website. So yeah, it would be interesting to see what's coming up.
I think the future is content upgrades. I think content upgrades. So creating that specific resource, because the exit intent technology, like you said, it's been around a while, and it's just like after that, what else can you do? If someone's literally on your page reading, there's only so many ways you can grab their email, right? So this is one that is less invasive, and it's basically like, okay, I'm reading about nutrition. Give them a nutrition one, where if they're on another page on your site reading about fitness, you give them a fitness one. And I think that's the future. It's just people are usually too lazy to implement it because it takes extra work. Oh, we can have 2. Sorry, Max. Go ahead. In the back.
Yeah,
Yeah, first, thank you for sharing this information. I'm wondering what happens if I read 5 of your blog posts and I sign up for 5 of your content upgrades. What happens then? Do I get 5 times your autoresponders? Or?
No. You can hack, like, it depends on your email service provider, but I was able to hack Aweber. So when you already subscribe and you sign up, usually you go to a page it's like you're already subscribed. But I made that page the content upgrade. So when you sign up and you're already subscribed, you go right to the resource. And you're not added to the list again. So no worries there. And other ESPs is actually very difficult. I signed up to like Entreport and stuff, and they couldn't do it. But believe it or not, Aweber is one of the best for setting it up, even though it's ghetto in a lot of other areas.
Since you're providing a lot of free content and valuable content on the site, how would you describe from your perspective what's the main difference and value add to the course you're actually selling? Is it more the content, the accountability, the structure? What do you think you can add with the sold product?
Well, I already have the sold product as a proven winner. But in terms of like why people do buy it, it's that, well, one is that there's a lot of strategies that I save for the course, but also that it's a step-by-step plan. So I think that's the main value. It's like, if you want to learn anything, you can, like if you want to learn medicine or pharmacy, you could go from like blog post to blog post and try to put it together, but it would take eons, right? It's the same with SEO. You can learn SEO from blog posts and forums and stuff, but it's just, that's how I tried to learn, and it's really hard. It took me 5 years. Or you could just take a course, and it basically takes you step by step how to do it. So I'd say that's like the main reason people tend to invest in it.
Do you require people to verify their email address, or do they just put it in? Can I put in a fake one, for example?
I require them to verify it, yeah. Because people enter fake ones, and a lot of times what people don't talk about is that those fake ones are someone's. Like I feel bad for like Joe at gmail.com. Like it must be like he must have been so pumped to get that email, and now he just gets spammed all the time. So then Joe will see that at Gmail, and he won't double opt in. So then it'll be like, you know what I mean? Because yeah, especially when you start giving away good stuff, people will want to get it without entering their email, which is fair, right? They'll try, but just I think double opt-in is good in general. You get less spam complaints and all that stuff, so it's a good practice, I think.
Most of your pop-ups or any other techniques say email address and then download PDF. It doesn't say sign me in for mailing list.
Yeah, exactly, because people don't like to see that copy. But you can still be transparent. First of all, I've had this discussion before. If you're entering an email into a site and you don't think they're going to email you again, you're an idiot, right? But also the fact that when I do email them the resource, I say, you know, and also even on to confirm their email, it's like to get the PDF and blah, 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 blah. And then when I email them, and the confirmation email also says like to get the PDF and updates and da-da-da. So like it's pretty clear what's going on. It's not a bait and switch. But I think, yeah, a lot of people just have the PDF, and then all of a sudden they're getting emails, and people are like, I never signed up for this. So I like to be transparent without also being like, okay, you signed up for a newsletter, obviously, right?